American LCS. We're jumping right into it. Our first game of the day, Team Solo Mid versus XDG Gaming. There were people who thought TSM might be an easy target when Bjergsen was out, but they had a perfect super week going 4-0 and an overall 5-1 with Reginald in the mid lane.
Yeah, those people were definitely a little bit wrong there. The trick now is to see if Bjergsen can transition back as easily as when Reginald filled in. I mean, Bjergsen's been traveling. He's been out of the gaming house for 3 weeks. He hasn't been practicing with the team, which I think is the most important part. So we're going to have to see if that takes its toll on the team overall.
And while TSM still holds first place and is the team to beat, XDG has been stuck in last for a few weeks now.
Yeah, they've shown new life with their last player rotation and the addition of Sheep. They had last week off as well, which gave the team more time to play together and hopefully can build the team up some chemistry. They have 8 games left, and everyone becomes really important as teams look forward towards the summer promotion tournament.
And while XDG is struggling to find its footing, they face TSM, a team that has been nothing but consistent.
XDG, like, sometimes they play really well. We're hoping we can get them on the downswing.
TSM's a really tough team to face because of how solid all their players are. They play a really strong standard game where they just pick really strong picks and just capitalize on leads.
For us, as long as we're even or ahead early game, we tend to win.
In my opinion, they have the new term of most potential. It's going to be up to the solo laners to carry again, just like before. It's eventually going to get to a level where everyone can carry, and that's where they're going to have to get out.
Everybody's going to have to get on the carry level.
Oh, yeah.
See if they can make it. Dyra said he can have a big impact in these games, but we'll have to see if he can really do it. He's been kind of maining the meta champions like everybody else right now.
Back as well. It's not completely on Dyers to make it in big.
That's true.
Wild Turtle stepped up a whole bunch in the off time, but it really is TSM, everyone getting better this year.
We'll have to see. The KDAs are quite high for the team. As we check out the starting lineups on the blue side, it is Team Solo Mid. Dyrus in the top lane, Oddwin in the jungle, Bjergsen in mid, Wild Turtle at 80 carry, and Xpecial just pondering on support.
Yeah, and on the red side, of course, it is XDG. Benny in the top lane, Smithy in the jungle, ManCloud in mid, Zuna on 80 carry, and Sheep on support.
We'll see if Dyrus can get himself into a good carry position for this one. Zuna saying, feel my hands, they're quite cold. Trying to get into this one. ManCloud offers the hand warm, and it looks like the synergy of the team has been complete. We've seen Zuna getting the dance back in a little bit.
Yeah.
XDG's finding
He breaks out the dance when
ways.
they win, which unfortunately for them this year hasn't been as much.
That's true.
So as long as the dance is ready to go, if they're able to win this game, this would be a huge upset, by the way, if TSM was able to knock out XDG. Number 8 versus number 1 in the standings.
Yeah. XDG would definitely get the momentum they need to continue carrying on wins that need to get them up in the brackets here. Team Solo Mid is sitting at 17-3 now in the spring split. Looking for that 25-3 possible in the end that Cloud9 had last year. Let's see ban percentages underneath the champions here as we get into picks and bans.
Very important thing to note is we are on the 4.3 patch, which is 1 patch back from what players are playing on live right now. So the Kassadin rework has not happened yet. It is a nerfed Kassadin that had stopped being banned a little bit in some games, but obviously in this one, it is feared. Rise ban is, I think we're going to be seeing a lot more of that as well.
Rise got his first ban after Nian played it. No big surprise there. It definitely caused a lot of havoc in that game.
He actually saw a lot of mid lane play over in the European LCS as well. So he's a double lane threat as far as where you're picking him, which just increases his value even more in the pick ban phase, which better explains the bans flying out for TSM.
Lulu. Yeah, during Super Week, Lulu, you don't say. She actually had a few support plays. Lemon Nation actually took that on support as teams were trying to just get her off the pick and ban phase. At least get them into a support position so she's not wreaking havoc in middle as she has been.
Yeah, it seems like we have a slightly different ban phase. Obviously, Rise and Lulu have leaked into it. This last ban, I do wonder about the value of Kha'Zix for TSM in particular. Oddwin hasn't been the most prolific Kha'Zix player. Actually hasn't played it at all this split. There's only been 1 Kha'Zix pick by TSM here, and that was from Bjergsen in the mid lane. Although with the ultimate evolution that people have been talking about.
Yeah, that's true. We saw Skara play it. Skara went with that. He actually leveled up the ultimate first as well. Dyer's picking out Renekton, so he can be a lane bully. We'll have to see. Benny needs to play something that can get by in the early part of that lane, and that's kind of something I was hoping that XDG would have in their picks. Not something that would be safe in lane, something that they could already take control of TSM.
Undefeated on Renekton is Dyrus.
Yeah.
Hasn't played it too much. Sometimes he gets banned against them, actually, so getting it through here is pretty valuable. XDG, you know, they're probably just going to be going with their standard stuff. I don't think with the 2 weeks off, they would pick crazy types of compositions to come up with, but I do think they do need to make a bit of a mix-up. I'd like to see a Kha'Zix coming out from Xmithie in the jungle because he knows stealth champions pretty well with all of his Evelynn experience, and Kha'Zix plays a little bit more like Eve now with the stealth changes than in the past.
Well, Xmithie will be looking to blow some people up from the jungle. This is actually Sheep getting in on his first Thresh game. He's been Leona, Morgana, and Annie coming in. You can see the Thresh Warden statistics there. We'll see what Sheep can do on it. Definitely taking that away from Xpecial as well. So Xpecial has 7 plays on Thresh already. That's 6-1.
Yeah. It was actually really strange in Super Week when XDG was playing with Sheep because oftentimes they would ban Thresh on their own side.
Yeah.
Even though it was one of Sheep's most prolific champions in solo queue. I think it was just kind of the stage jitters they wanted to get out of him, knowing that Thresh is such a mechanically complex champion. Getting it through now, they hope he has his footing.
They actually go for the Eve themselves to be locked in for the odd one. We'll see what kind of sneaky play he can get around, and just one of the top 2 coming in for Wild Turtle is his Lucian. Both him and Sivir have 7 plays for Turtle.
Would Bjergsen pick Zed blind into what XGG is playing? He is probably the best Zed in North America. I'd have to say he pulls out some wicked plays on him. Yeah, it's locked in. Good to see that Zed.
Definitely one of his go-tos when, like you said, picking it blind, he can keep it completely safe. Playing his shadow game might be, like you said, one of the best in North America, and we'll get to see that here. Quite excited about it as the last pick comes in from ManCloud. His champion pool grown quite a bit. He's at 11 unique champions. We'll see if he makes it 12 here. Orianna, Kha'Zix, and LeBlanc were played back in Super Week.
Yeah.
We'll see what he has here.
It's going to be tough for him to pull out something strong enough to face up against Bjergsen Zed. Gragas is something he's tried to default to 4 times this season, but he's actually winless with it. 0-4. And Gragas had a very, very tiny nerf as well, a couple patches back, taking point 1 off his AP short of his ultimate. But okay, these teams in general, XDG actually has a fair amount of team fight potential, but they're going to need to work to get themselves out of the laning phase against a team as good at laning as TSM, especially with the jungle Eve. The early game lane pressure is going to be huge coming out of TSM, and this is TSM going for that 20 to 30 minute win right off the bat.
And what's the objective now of Xmithie then? If they're trying to get Eve a fast start, do you look for Eve or do you try to create pressure in other lanes to make Eve come to you?
You got to guess where Eve is most of the time.
You got to guess where it.
It's one of the most difficult things to jungle against. Pro teams are generally pretty good at it. Just knowing the general jungle rotations of players and then seeing the way people play in lanes to maybe know that a jungler's there. But aside from that, it's really difficult to jungle against an Eve, and Xmithie has to guess.
We'll see if Xmithie guesses correctly as the teams load onto the Rift. Let's check the voting at lolesports.com. It's 94% of you thinking that Team Solo Mid will take the win.
94%.
I think that ranks up there with one of the highest vote.
Yeah, one of the highest votes. TSM also had a 94% vote against Team Coast when they were upset a couple of weeks back. And there has been some off time. We had the off week for the IM World Championships in Katowice. Bjergsen just getting back to the team now. There will be that extra little bit of an adjustment period. But, I mean, if we're talking about adjustment periods, just look at XDG's roster. They've done role swaps. They've had a new support come in. They're still going to be just as up in the air as TSM. Yeah,
and TSM, their roster switch up pretty much didn't favor them, but it didn't hurt. It didn't really go either way.
What was it, 5-1?
5-1, the record altogether. Bjergsen's KDA right now is 6.56. And while Reginald was playing, he got a 6.13. So he provided for the team as Bjergsen would have. It was like nothing happened there. So
MVP
you can
of Super Week as well.
Yeah, MVP of Super Week. The communication with Team Solo Mid is kind of just on top all the time. And if for somebody to be changed out, puts them at regular. It's kind of crazy. It doesn't put them under at all.
Yeah, puts them as the best team in North America.
Yeah. So here we are loading on to the Rift. Everybody excited, ready to get into this game. We are 9 weeks in. 81 games so far in the spring split. Now TSM versus XDG is going to face off on the Rift.
Maybe some gimmickry coming out from XDG early on in the game.
I like that word.
This is still the 4.3 patch, so the trinkets will be able to be placed at 1 minute 30 seconds. I expect we'll see a lot more of this type of invading once the 4.4 patch hits, but not today. Xpecial, trying to charge up his stun, but if he's standing in that spot, he would be able to see XDG coming around. It's actually a pretty smart brush to stand in against a Thresh. He won't get blindsided by a hook over the wall. He'll see them and be able to run away.
Yep. slowly playing it safe. Everybody else has kind of spread themselves out across the map, so they know what's going on, and they're going to keep it safe, as we say. Hard hats on here for XDG, and Team Solo Mid's just going to wait it out. See what Wild Turtle can do with that Lucian in the early game. He loves to apply early pressure. Special will get in there. Always trying to figure out how he can get the double stun in. You won't see him really use it until he can get both people locked up, majority of the time.
Yeah, very brutal bottom lane, Wild Turtle and X Special. X Special, just a note. We mentioned it in the preview show a few days back, but he leads all NA LCS players, and actually LCS players, in kills, KDA, goal per minute,
Yep.
pretty much every relevant stat, aside from kills per game, which Bjergsen has, because he was out for his 6 games.
Yep.
Bjergsen's actually still 2nd place in kills in the LCS, despite missing basically 3 weeks worth of games.
The team just keeps it going. We were just talking about X Special. He's done that all on only 3 champions so far. Somehow he's able to find Annie, Thresh, or Leona so far in 9 weeks of the LCS. Now Annie in this game, we'll see how the bottom lane fares for TSM against XDG's Caitlyn and Thresh. Smithy picking up the blue. Looks like he won't get too much help. We've kind of put a focus on that level 2 in the bottom lane, and you won't see the junglers getting too much help lately.
Yeah, I do think it's really interesting how the jungle pulling has evolved in these pro games. Level 2 in lane has such a premium now that AD carries and supports aren't even helping the jungler because they're just trying to push the wave as quickly as possible. It makes it a little bit harder on junglers early on in the game, quite honestly.
Everybody's going to stay safe for the majority of the early game. Mirrored wards disappear on the bottom side of the map, so it does get a little scarier. But the buddy system will keep the AD carry support safe. We do see the hover from the odd one towards the bottom side. He's going to go for golems. I don't know if he's going to get something too early. You can see Zuna getting aggression here from X Special, and that passive shot is going to put more into Zuna. Doing a great job at making sure that Sheep really isn't too much of a threat.
Yeah, that's exactly what you want to do on Annie if your AD carry gets hooked early on in the game. Stun the other AD carry, and then just trade the damage, because Thresh himself isn't going to be crushing Wild Turtle without that AD carry support. And here might come an E.
It could happen. We'll have to keep an eye on X Special's Pyromaniac trying to charge that up and get the stun down. Level 3 for the odd one. The red buff still ticking on him, but it looks like they're not going to pursue a gank. They do see Xmithy in the mid lane real quick. I believe Bjergsen might have gotten an eye on him there, but he's going to head down, and they might match up with odd one.
Yeah, that's the best thing a enemy jungler can do against Eve, is just see her in the jungle, because that lets every lane know. It's basically like having wards. Notice how there's actually no wards down for TSM, mostly, because warding the river or your conventional ward spots just doesn't work against Eve. It's very... changes the game, really.
Dyrus doing as a Renekton would, pushing up to the turret here. Benny's taking a few hits, but he's able to keep the CS within range. Dyrus is going to take an advantage there, and we'll see how big that gets in the next few minutes. Mid lane isn't going too bad either. Every lane actually going in favor of TSM. Like I said before, XDG really needs to get a good clip and a lead out of the lanes to do well.
Exactly. Like we said in the pregame, TSM is going to look to dominate these lanes. Even though Odd1 hasn't been ganking, the presence of him should scare back XDG a little bit. It's not actually doing so very early on in laning phase, because Zuna and Sheep are still pushing up fairly aggressively. But even so, the TSM laners are just playing better right now. Stronger champion, slightly better play.
Smithy towards the bottom lane. Like we were saying, this is his first time on Kha'Zix coming into the spring split, although he did have that position in AD carry previously in the first few weeks. But we'll have to see. He was the most improved jungler coming out of the spring, or I'm sorry, the summer. We'll see if Kha'Zix really puts an impact on this game for him.
Yeah, very slow start. TSM doesn't need to do much, because you can see just from the lanes, they're already picking up a fairly large edge.
500 gold, easily in their favor. Bjergsen can make sure he gets these attacks on while staying safe. You can see ManCloud not full health. Bjergsen having a great time in a safe spot, just throwing shurikens out all day long. See what Xmithy can do to react. It's really on him in these next few minutes to kind of tilt the game. Sixes are about to come up. We can see the mid laners are halfway to 6 right now, and it's going to be that help from the jungle.
Yeah, trying to find ways for XDG to maybe get a bit of control in this game. They're going to want to do a fairly early dragon or dragon fight with Gragas, where ManCloud would have the ability to separate TSM's team. They also might want Benny to come down a little bit on Shyvana, since he's already losing the lane to Renekton. And Kha'Zix wants more fights. That's the biggest thing for him, especially once he gets that ultimate evolution. I believe he would evolve his R now with the new Kha'Zix because of 2 seconds of stealth instead of 1. I think that's what XDG would want to do. Up until that point, they just need to survive and make sure they stay at least even on item breakpoints. That's going to be a big thing for them. This
works out really well. We'll see if ManCloud pushes this lane, because he just got 6, and Bjergsen would have had to back there without getting it. But he himself gets it. I was going to say Dragon was going to become a little easier for XDG there, but everybody will be ready with the ults at that time. 6.5 minutes in, Dyrus looks like he's full rage in that top lane. Benny doesn't want any of that level 6 to level 5.
Yeah, real strong early on. Not too much more to say about TSM's game plan here because it's fairly straightforward.
They're not being pressured in anything else.
They're not being pressured. This is kind of how you would expect a 8 versus 1 matchup to start in North American LCS, with just TSM crushing the laning phase and having control over XDG.
That was a good move by Xmithy there in the mid. We did see the gank, but previously he was trying to find the odd one. So he's keeping it in his mind that they got to put some aggressive wards down, as he did at the Wraith. If he sees the odd one, it's a huge one up. If not, they get a gank in mid. So we'll see if they keep that in mind as well. They're still down about 400, more than that, 800 gold right now. It's going to be a big thing for them. Oh no, 1,000 gold, I'm sorry. I'm looking at it wrong.
What numbers are we reading? This is a whole bunch, but it looks like a little bit of action in the bot lane, actually.
Oh, coming up onto Caitlyn. Very nice try for Zuna. We saw Zuna getting hit up quite hard in his last few games. In the preview show, he was going down time after time again, and it was on that Caitlyn. He's been trying to do a lot. 4 plays now, 1 in 3. He's trying to bring that record up along with the team.
The Dragon fight should hopefully be forced by XTG fairly quickly. One negative thing about TSM not really buying many wards, or sorry, XTG not buying wards, is they wouldn't necessarily have control over the Dragon Pit. But because they want to go for it, they're putting down a lot of pink wards in the area, so that if Odd One does come to try and help, they can just maybe even do it. They might think about doing it straight up now.
This is quite scary. A level 5 Xmithy. Odd One just hit 6, but he's low on mana.
He is taking way too much damage for this. But if TSM doesn't react because they just shopped in the base, they will be able to just get this Dragon uncontested.
Wow, XDG really putting a risk on this one. High risk, high reward indeed. It's going to take him a little bit longer. ManCloud's even going to get back to the lane before he loses too much experience to the turret. We only have 500 gold difference now to that 1,000 that just was.
Yeah, it kind of goes to show how much they were losing the lanes, how they can take an uncontested Dragon and still be down.
Yeah.
400 gold. TSM won't want to let that happen again in 6 minutes. That's going to be the fight, I think, that would really break out. There's a chance this turns into a very low-kill game, just with the way the lanes are playing out.
We see actually Bjergsen.
Here they come, though.
It's going to be the ultimate coming out. The flash Tibbers. One goes down. That's Sheep. He gets harvested. Zuna's going to be the next to calling. He throws down the barrier. It's going to be more hate spikes. And the final one takes down Zuna. Good control in the bottom lane at 9 minutes.
Yeah, really nice timing on that gank by TSM, because even though they gave up the Dragon, they immediately knew what to do to get back at them. Knowing that the Dragon was so early, fight mid.
Oh, Bjergsen going hard. Oh, very nice. Oh, the Ignite goes down. The turret shot hit. That's why you didn't see more damage come on, because he had already taken the damage, and he gets out alive.
Yeah, that was an outplay by Bjergsen. He didn't even have to burn flash for that. But the timing of the Dragon by TSM, when a team does a very early Dragon like that, they would know that Xmithy would be very low on health. So just running in for a full-on gank like that, they know they're not going to get 3v3'd, and it's an easy 3v2 move for them, meaning it's a very safe gank in the bottom lane. Mid lane, of course, was just Bjergsen being Bjergsen.
Yep, Bjergsen actually getting the blue buff from Odd One as well. We'll see how he takes this in consideration. Blue buff allows him to throw out Qs, means more damage, means death to ManCloud.
Yeah, it was interesting. He had his W clone out a little bit longer, and right before it was going to die, he teleported back to it, got a hit in, and then started his ultimate. So he really snuck in damage at the opportune times. Surprising ManCloud there.
Doesn't look like the off week did too much to Bjergsen. He was getting what he needed on the EU West servers. 15,600 to 13,000 gold right now. Only 10 minutes into the game, and TSM is definitely taking a commanding lead. Core items almost being built up. We already see the Lizard Elder built up onto the Odd One. It's going to be more objectives for them and more control.
Yeah, the kill on ManCloud is also very well synchronized with this push in the mid lane, because they know that the blue buff is off of ManCloud, meaning his wave clear potential is a lot lower. And if they want to rotate and try to get multiple turrets down early on, they can.
So many options for TSM to go forward in this game. Right now, they're just choosing the slow roll so far. They haven't really taken down the too many turrets except for the one in the bottom lane. And Dragon's going to be up in a few minutes, so they're going to go top side for now and see what they can work up.
Benny has ultimate, he has pretty much everything, but no one in this top lane is shopped. They might be very surprised that more people on the map exist here, and we'll see how Benny reacts.
Everybody took a boat over to the island, and they're ready to dock. Here we go. Oddwin and Special coming off first. He's going to make him walk the plank. Benny tries to get out of this one on the backside, though, and it looks like he's going to burn Flash as well as the Dragon's Descent. Everybody's going to be heading up here. Bjergsen looks like he's holding middle because he's being pushed in from XSmithy and ManCloud. Yeah. He has tied his shoes real tight going coast to coast.
Oddwin's got to be real
on the
careful.
burnout. XSmithy comes around, and Benny's going to make it out safely.
Really good escape there by Benny, finding the right angle to escape the three-man gank, even burned the flash of Dyrus. So a lot invested there. XDG has to make something else happen off of Benny's big play.
Oh, Turtle's got to put on the hard shell for this one. He's going real low. Barrier goes on. He's holding him quite well. The net takes him down. Sheev gets himself just out of turret range.
Good reaction there by XDG and a very dangerous move. Wild Turtle did a nice juke of the flay, but still didn't have enough because it was a very brute force two-man turret dive.
Huge wards coming up behind XDG, keeping them pretty safe so they can do dives like that. Sheep already had the Sightstone coming in, as well as Special in that bottom lane. Right now we're 3-1. We're just 12 minutes in, and there weren't too many kills, but they're getting racked up now, and that's what we like to see. Still only one turret, though, as it's been killed on the champions, not on the turrets.
Yeah, and now, though, that Benny's ultimate is down, he's in a bit more danger in the top lane. Odd1's hoping to find a counter jungle opportunity onto Smithy. He would have timed his red buff the second time around. He knows it's coming up soon.
And check this out. We've been seeing a lot of Tiamats, a lot of aggressive starts, and this still counts as aggressive, but Dyrus is going for that Blade of the Rune King with a Cutlass first on his Renekton.
Yeah, it's a very interesting build. I think he's just going for even more lane killing power. Benny's letting Dyrus shove in anyway, so he doesn't care about shoving extremely quickly with the Tiamat. And as far as chasing him down, the slow from the Bilgewater Cutlass might come in handy for him, so that's why he's going that build.
Rocking out the Ninja Top in the top lane for now. He is against quite a bit of AD and didn't want any pressure from XSmithy coming in. Slice and dice. You can see the damage trade's actually pretty even back and forth. And Bjergsen again, I'm going to be taking that blue buff.
Yeah, I mean, Zed still uses it for energy cost, and he can spam a lot more, even though energy comes back fairly quickly. Cooldown reduction on the ultimate as well is nice. Wild Turtle's got to watch out!
Oh, the Fog of War playing against Wild Turtle on this one, and he cannot get out. XDG, very nice play.
That's just, I think that's a big misplay by Wild Turtle. He was obviously trying to get vision of the area, but knowing that Odd1 had just taken the red buff on the other side, if they probably just weren't communicating, because Odd1 should have told him that Kha'Zix may have been near, and he shouldn't have been that far up.
Instant Morel and Namakan build up here for ManCloud as we see the bottom lane getting pressured. XDG should grab this tower.
Yeah, nice moves in the bottom lane by XDG. Really, a lot of that happened off of Benny's great escape in the top lane.
Yeah.
They're at least staying in the game here.
It's a good point. Interesting how little things across the map can really escalate and just kind of create a ripple effect. Now down towards the bottom, you see that turret go down. It evens up the turrets. Gold is still a bit of a deficit here for XDG as they try to get themselves around. They're still trying to get forward wards in and keep themselves in this one.
The roaming really starts happening now because both AD carries and supports are free to go. Knowing there's a flash up on Annie as well makes everything more dangerous, and this is a big dragon fight. You know how TSM realized right after the dragon had been taken? They want to get everyone down here in the bottom lane. Dyrus making it very obvious that he's up here. This should be an uncontested dragon. It's just a matter of how much turret damage Benny gets.
Dyrus is 11, Bjergsen is 11, ManCloud is not, and neither is Benny. So they got ults leveled up on that one as well. So like you said, going to TSM, a smart move for XDG. They got the first dragon, they're equaled in turrets. The laning phase in a few kills is really where you're seeing the discrepancy.
Yeah, look at that CS difference in the top lane. It was more. It's now 33 because Dyrus spent all that time to roam down. And because Benny hadn't even been near the turret of Dyrus. They are able to get the dragon trade for not much negative consequences.
This could be something big in the mid lane for TSM if XDG can't come up big themselves. It's already Lucian and Annie going their Wild Turtle Special. As we see Benny coming up top here with XSmithy looking to get some kills onto Dyrus. He got those Ninja Tabis, so not going to take too much damage, but XSmithy can still get a good chunk on him.
Yeah, Darius has to be a little bit cautious not to completely all in Benny here, but outside of that, he is in a pretty safe zone.
It's kind of one of the good things about
Zuna is not.
Renekton. No, Zuna, very close flashes to keep the distance. One more shot, he's not even going to need it. Look at that. He just walks away from the explosion.
It's a very unsafe zone there. Bjergsen showing why he is the best Zed player in North America. Wait a little bit so he can E all the creeps at once. Blade of the Ruined King plus Brutalizer is the point in the game where he kills the AD carry, and he found him.
This is what makes it hard to play against an Eve. The regular wards aren't really going to make you privy to Eve's presence. It looks like they're not really going to be able to get too much damage down. Dyrus just going for the tickle fight.
I really wonder. Odd One's probably waiting in the wings, hoping to find some gank support. They don't want to dive the Shyvana, but they're trying to catch people helping out Shyvana.
Sheep giving a little bit of help to ManCloud here in mid. Getting some souls for himself. ManCloud at 148, as we were saying. Picking up a bit of CS here to Bjergsen at 159.
Ooh, jungle fight. Nope.
Pink ward. Ooh. Yeah, he did not want any of that. So Xmithy keeps that top side of the jungle a bit safer for the team, as they might be rotating top side. It looks like they're going to want Benny sometime soon.
Let's actually pay attention to how long that pink ward lasts for XDG.
Yeah.
It'll be a good indicator of how much control or fear exists in this game.
They put high priority on their bus. They got one on each.
Yeah. If Odd One's able to go in and get those, it'll mean XDG has completely lost control.
Something ManCloud definitely needs. Xmithy as well, to be sure and keep the mentality of the team up, knowing that they can walk into their own jungle. They can set up their own ganks, because once those paths are closed off, TSM is going to know exactly where and when they're coming into a fight. 4-2, 17:30 into the game, as Wild Turtle again gets himself into a sticky situation, but enough out of that one that he gets himself to safety.
Yeah, still has Flash and Barrier up. This is a split push by TSM. They're trying a bit of a, it would be a 3-on-1, but they have even too many people off on the side for it. So that means XG is trying to counter by pushing up mid lane. They can't stay there very long because the split push of TSM will eventually overcome and take the side lanes.
Looks like they know Benny's going to have to back. Special is kind of closing off and cutting the pie there so nobody else can make it through the jungle. They're going to probably kill Benny in that top lane as ManCloud comes to hover on the bottom. Benny gets away safely. Wild Turtle's now the focus, but Odd One throwing down the ultimate, and he keeps going. Agony's Embrace into the hate spike. Zuna's going to throw down the 90 caliber net. No red buff for Odd One means a safe Zuna.
That was such a nice W by the Odd One as well. He ate the slow from the box and then W'd to cleanse the slow. It didn't end up burning anything extra. It was just really nice skill usage. They caught a couple XGG members still playing in the anti-split push way when everyone had peeled back.
Bjergsen getting a little ahead of himself on this one. Ants Pansy, there goes Xmithy with the ultimate down. He's going to hit Bjergsen with a quick Q. One more auto attack coming in. The assist goes to ManCloud.
But meanwhile, in the mid lane, they did kill Zuna, and all that collapse down in the bottom lane is granting TSM a turret.
Going to be able to take out the wave as well that's coming in, so they have a little bit of breathing room, but they got to watch Benny from the top side. Very low mana. Odd One gets hooked from the max range. Sheep on the flash flay, actually stopping the flash from Odd One and then hitting it up with the hook. Good kill coming in for Benny.
TSM a little bit sloppy in this game. Honestly, they have won the lanes by a lot, but they are getting caught in a few rotations by XDG. This is mostly reactionary play, but this was the nice kill. Flashing in for Zuna and just deleting him off the map.
You're supposed to be safe in between your turrets.
Well,
sometimes. Sometimes.
TSM has a habit of killing Zuna over and over again. It happened during Super Week as well. They really picked on him. He was 1-6 or 1-7 by the end of that last game.
Sometimes when you can get under that person's skin, and even not even under their skin, make sure they're just not the same level or same experience, it can really hurt them. But to Zuna's court, he is doing a great job. 11-11 as Wild Turtle actually just hit that. 161 to 160. So even though they have his number, he's sticking in this one.
I mean, maybe some of the Zuna picking on comes from all the way back at the start of the Season 3 Spring Split. Zuna used to be the guy who would try to vocally intimidate the enemy team by yelling really loudly after all the kills. Because back in the old studio, players were at fairly close. You could hear the shouts through the microphones because they were fairly close to each other there. And it was actually, when Chaos was on TSM, he would try and counter with yells of his own. TSM has the last laugh, though. They tend to win these games.
Indeed, especially 2 turrets up, but 3 turrets down right now. They're definitely turning out the lights on the side of XDG. Each one of those turrets that goes down creates a little bit more fog that you are not sure about walking into. 25 seconds on the Dragon. Should see Xmithy start to hover down towards the bottom side of the map. But you see TSM is already in place to set up that defensive wall. They're already a few steps ahead to be at Dragon.
This next fight could break the game wide open, or just catching XDG. Everything XDG is doing is reacting to what TSM has planned.
Oh, Bjergsen says, yes, hook me in. This is what you want. But he got taken to the other side as well. The Deathmark takes him down. Odd one. Throwing down the W, keeps himself safe, and XDG is left to scramble.
Cyrus is inside 4 people right there.
Yeah, he is trying to do what he can. Throws down the call to Meek. That had a full rage onto it, half rage rather, but it looks like they will get a good engage. I don't know about the follow-up, though, to keep it going.
It's all good because there's the Dragon coming up. Like I said, XDG is just getting pushed around by TSM. Yes, they've been able to pick up a couple kills off of TSM's aggression, but it's just not enough. This gold lead is just going to continue to grow. All the pink wards that XDG had set up in their own jungle have been killed, and this is maybe a suicidal defense.
TSM is one of those teams that knows when they can pressure a lead. Great smite by Odd One, gets that down. The Dragon is TSM's, and it looks like they get the kill as well onto Xmithy. They are just throwing themselves into these fights. They know they have the power to.
Yeah, Xmithy tried a desperation steal there. It's almost like XGG is just hoping that someone is going to make a play. Xmithy tried at that point, but it wasn't like the whole team was on the page. He was the only one who went in. Everyone else had to just run away.
Man Cloud building up the Morello Namicon first, trying to do what he can against Bjergsen in mid. Does not have the Rabadons, doesn't have the Void Staff, isn't in a position to carry the game for his team. XGG is really going to have to hold out here for the long haul if they want to make an impact and getting back. Maybe TSM messes up at the Baron, but right now, like I said, they have the chance to mess up. They'll still be in the lead.
Bjergsen wanted to kill somebody over the wall. Is he going to stop his back? Yeah? He just wants some minions.